As somebody who doesn't like Trump, myself, the elites were right about Donald Trump, right? I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
That is not the format.
There are no indications of foul play here.
Join us again this week for another episode of As the GOP Turns.
We have gone over a cliff in America.
Worried about a potential, terrorist attack, given the wide open border.
I want to talk about the absolute absurdity of Republicans trying to change the narrative into the dangerous left.
Thing that said, take a look at what happened.
It's their newest in a long line of absolute BS.
Trump confidant and rival candy maker hell-bent on stealing the recipe for the gobstopper was arrested in Fort Lauderdale, but they also raided his New York residence up in Harlem. It was easy to find because it's the neighborhood's only evil lair.
Name is Thomas Matthew Crooks.
Channel 4 News can reveal that Thomas Crooks' father, the owner of the rifle that was used to shoot at Donald Trump, was held on a database and profiled by the former president's election campaign and identified by them as a strong Republican supporter, gun owner and hunter. The information was compiled as part of a secret Republican project to gather data on millions of gun owners across America and use it to target pro-gun messages in the run-up to the 2016 election. And here's why they did it. The city of Pittsburgh is a key battleground in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania.
Say at the top of this thing, there's no room for violence. But Republicans don't know that.
They went after everything, his computers, his phones, the umbrella he uses to defeat Batman.
It was the game. He has fun with it, and he's very good at it.
And guess what? You got the wrong guy.
Like the Trump campaign in 2016, which held voters' details on a database, including, as we've discovered, the shooter's family, Matthew Crooks and his wife Mary, who lived here at 2506 Milford Drive in Bethel Park. We know they profiled them using secret computer models to identify likely gun owners and enthusiasts, and Mr. Crooks scored very highly, 0.99 out of 1 for being a gun owner and 0.95 out of 1 for being a hunter. In fact, out of more than 19,000 people in Bethel Park who were profiled, Mr. Crooks was in the top 20, and the database classified him as a strong GOP or Republican voter.
New York radio host and unfrozen caveman lawyer Randy Credico sent him an email where he did his own impression of a mobster. You are a rat, a stoolie. You backstab your friends, run your mouth. My lawyers are dying to rip you to shreds.
I'm an agent provocateur.
Political strategist.
Controversial as you can get.
An incredible capacity for treachery.
Win-at-all-cost mentality.
When people think of Washington corruption, they think of Roger Stone.
Those who say I have no soul, those who say I have no principles, are losers.
He's a best-selling author, news anchor.
Dobbs mania sweeps the country.
And now he's taking his talents to Lou Dobbs Sunday.
This is Roger Stone, and I'm sitting in for my good friend Lou Dobbs. Donald Trump is very clearly has the protective hand of the Lord on him.
You're going to be so blessed.
Stone then threatened to take that dog away from you.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Stone did nothing wrong.
Trump's life was spared for a greater purpose. That Trump has now, in essence, cheated death, thank God, but for an inch and a half, or we'd be in a very different place today.
You know, I didn't even know that show existed Lou Dobbs somehow still has a show somewhere?
Those are bitter losers.
There's really nobody quite like Roger Stone.
The Nixon tattoo is really all you need to know about Roger.
We really pioneered negative campaign advertising.
He created the modern sleazeball lobbyist.
But in case you ever wondered what side of the fence Lou Dobbs is on, his guest host this week is Roger Stone.
So a senior campaign official was directed by an unnamed person to contact Mr. Stone about additional WikiLeaks releases that might damage the Clinton campaign.
Hey, don't look at me. I'm just an innocent gun who is smoking. Oh, guilty.
Washington's been worse for it ever since.
Stone's rule: it is better to be infamous than never be famous at all.
The swinger scandal happened.
My private life is nobody's business.
I got chased out of Washington.
He's looking to see if he can find an angle.
I was like a jockey looking for a horse. You can't win the race if you don't have a horse.
Yet he stands tall, if anything, undaunted, determined, more resolved than ever before. They, of course, now have turbocharged his campaign.
Now, I don't know how many views that episode has now. When I clicked on it, it only had 7.
Roger saw something that nobody else saw back in the early 80s.
I suggested that Trump should explore a bid for the presidency.
He created Donald Trump as a political figure.
You're the biggest lie, loser. What have I lied about?
Have you spoken with the WikiLeaks founder?
You're a rape tonight.
Roger, you can't just say that.
You have to be outrageous to get noticed.
America may be collapsing, but Roger Stone is determined to enjoy it.
But Fox News and Newsmax and the entire right-wing corporate MAGA media.
I revel in your hatred, because if I weren't effective, you wouldn't hate me.
Which, by the way, every CEO of every news station, CNN, MSNBC alike, are radical right-wing Republicans that donate millions. Every one of them.
Are you a government minister who wants to appeal to a very specific demographic? Do you need to establish your credentials as hard-hitting, no-nonsense, / hard-hearted, no-conscience? Are your arguments about immigration just not cutting through? Then you need dog whistles and more. From fear flutes to outrage oboes, our extensive collection of coded language wind instruments can stimulate even the hardest to reach voters and smack them right in the feels. From the classic dog whistle.
In uncertain times like these, the right to defend yourself, your property, and your family,
the euphemism euphonium,
could not be more important. Whether it's looting hordes from Atlanta or a tyrannical government from Washington, there are few better liberty machines than an AR-15.
All the way up to a full-scale bigot horn.
I got a big truck, just in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself. Yep, I just said that.
As we all know that protests whipped up by the far right are a warning. That if we don't pander to them, they might not vote for us at the next election, and we can't afford to lose their support on top of everyone else's. But that's not all. For a limited time only, get a bonus They're All Criminals pack for the low, low price of just a small portion of your soul. Spice up your arguments with some law lies.
When they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison.
We need to come together to recognize that illegal immigrants are being released from insane asylums, to turn your kids into trans librarians.
Donald John Trump is the leader America deserves.
Chuck in a Kafka loop.
Mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country. Nobody's even looking at them. They just come in. The crime is going to be tremendous. The terrorism is going to be, and then we built a tremendous piece of the wall.
Been shooting dog whistles for years. That's literally what they do.
Indoctrinating our children, even using the Department of Justice against parents who object. It's a terrible thing. It's so sad what's happening.
When I'm in the White House, our schools will cease pushing critical race theory as they were. Radical civics and gender insanity. As Commander-in-Chief, I will get Biden's radical left ideology out of our military, and I did. And in the first day, they put it back. They signed an executive order and they put it back. It was gone.
Then deliver death by anecdote.
He's a legend, right? UFC, ultimate fighter, ultimate fighting. And he's a fantastic man. I said, Dana, I have an idea. Why don't you set up a migrant league of fighters and have your regular league of fighters? And then you have the champion of your league. These are the greatest fighters in the world. Fight the champion of the migrants. I think the migrant guy might win. That's how tough they are.
A time ago, they just straight up said, Nick.
Dog whistles and more. Because sometimes just a hint of authoritarianism is not quite enough. And why try and fix a problem when leaving it broken gives you more opportunities to blow that horn?
Democrats like to say that no one needs an AR-15 for self-defense. That no one could possibly need all 30 rounds. But when this rifle is the only thing standing between your family and a dozen angry Democrats in Klan hoods, you just might need that semi-automatic and all 30 rounds.
But as I have said before, the gravest threats to our civilization are not from abroad, but from within. The justice system, the FBI, and the DOJ. We must conduct a top-to-bottom overhaul to clean out the festering rot and corruption of Washington, D.C.
Warning, deploy sparingly. Overuse can reduce effectiveness and make stronger measures necessary, which may require armbands.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, the man does a series of lies at the debate, and it was absolutely absurd. The dude didn't tell a single fact.
Fear of questions and the high level of cowardice required to join their group, we felt it was time to discuss another very important aspect of their day-to-day lives. Alternative facts. If you're unfamiliar with the phrase,
Evil swept across Uvalde yesterday. Anyone who shoots his grandmother in the face has to have evil in his heart. But it is far more evil for someone to gun down little kids. It is intolerable.
Fox News alert, we're getting brand new details on the heartbreaking tragedy in Texas. At least 19 children and 2 adults are dead at Robb Elementary School near San Antonio.
Hell, back then when they started, it was going to be alternative facts. They would just make shit up. But now they're not even bothering to do that. They just lie and then talk about patriotism in the Bible.
Governor Greg Abbott made a point to credit officers who responded without hesitation.
The reason it was not worse is because law enforcement officials did what they do. They showed amazing courage by running toward gunfire for the singular purpose of trying to save lives.
Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives. Everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders.
Trump's claims are false. Poll after poll has shown that Americans wish Roe would have been preserved, and multiple legal scholars have told CNN the same thing.
And guns. They talk a lot about guns. I wonder if they're going to keep talking about that. Sure see a lot of them carrying one of those things. Sure see a lot of them with the pin on their...
And today, we're going rhino hunting. The rhino feeds on corruption and is marked by the stripes of cowardice. Join the MAGA crew. Get a rhino hunting permit. There's no bagging limit, no tagging limit, and it doesn't expire until we save our country.
The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth.
This claim is complete and utter nonsense. That is called infanticide and is illegal in all 50 states. This has never been a thing, it has never happened, and there is zero evidence of any state allowing this practice. For the record, less than 1% of abortions in the United States happen after 21 weeks or 5 months of pregnancy.
It's a quarter horse, man. That's all it is, a quarter horse. But that new Stingray, yo. Oh, you tack that sucker up to $6 and it comes out of the hole like a bullet, man.
We had no terror during my administration. The only terror we had was Nancy Pelosi, who's a crazed lunatic. She's a lunatic. She is a crazed lunatic. What the hell was going on with her husband? Let's not ask. Let's not ask. I'll withdraw that statement.
You know, Nancy Pelosi's a crazy lunatic. There's people coming across the border to kill you. And, you know, meanwhile...
I'll take dead aim at politics as usual. Everyone also remembers that because I fought for you, they came after me.
That's the same guy rhino hunting. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Trump denying that he had used the word suckers or losers to describe United States service members and claimed that the idea he had made these remarks was made up by President Biden himself.
He made that up. He put it in commercials.
The story was initially reported by The Atlantic, citing for sources that shortly after Trump cancelled a visit to a military cemetery in France where United States troops are buried, he told members of his staff, "Why should I go to that cemetery? It's filled with losers," and that in another conversation on the same trip, Trump had referred to Marines who had been killed in Europe as suckers.
He did say that. His own chief of staff said that he said it.
Process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
It's a DC gang!
Do need to take down the temperature. And it's time for Republicans to do that.
Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed.
This is false. Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz was responsible, not Donald Trump, for deploying the National Guard during the 2020 protests. Walz first activated the Guard more than 7 hours before Trump threatened to deploy the Guard himself.
And in 2022, I'm going to blow away the Democrat socialist agenda. Go to the website below and sign up to win my .50 caliber.
He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times.
This is false, just as it was when Trump made the same claim during the 2020 election campaign.
And then always blame it on somebody else. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Hey, man, that's what Republicans do. And let me say at the bottom of this thing, there is no room for violence in our political discourse. What the hell is the matter with you people? They blame it on somebody else. You know, it was the radical left that did January 6th. Didn't you hear? It was Antifa.
I'm a victim. Think of it.
And now
now, Trump is threatening to reveal unflattering information about Ron DeSantis. For example, did you know Ron DeSantis is in charge of a state where some maniac was hiding stolen nuclear secrets?
Single women are voting for Democrats by 30 points.
37.
37 points. And in urban America, they're cleaning our clocks in the cities. And the fact that these youth voters are coming in so strong.
If I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary.
Blames high tax rates on wokeness. We ask, are pride flags really that expensive? And when was the last time you blamed all your failures on a vague concept you can't define?
Roger Stone did nothing wrong.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't negotiate, let's investigate. We'll accelerate and we're taking him down.